Hey folks, welcome back to the shop. It's been a minute. As you can see behind me, where there's normally a couple of bows hanging on the wall, they're not there. It's because they're still in the case from just getting back from an elk hunting trip in New Mexico. Fortunately, I was able to take a nice cow elk with my bow and spent about 11 or 12 days at about 10,200 feet. So that was a big change from where I'm at in the South. But anyway, today we're going to talk about 410 and a steel load. A lot of people into non-toxic, whether they just want to shoot it or whether they're mandated to shoot it in state or federal controlled, land or whatever. Some gun ranges even mandate it now. But this steel load, I put it together for waterfowl, but I'm coming to find out that it's probably going to be a good load for upland game, dove, stuff like that, even clays. But before we get into this, I don't know if you want to call it a warning or what, but if you are concerned about an older gun and steel shot exposure to the chamber, the forcing cone, or the barrel, the choke itself, you probably don't need to watch this. I mean, you're welcome to watch it, but you're also welcome to say, man, there ain't no way in the world I'm doing that to my gun. And that's fine. The load that I put together and had tested, and obviously it's a good tested load. It does not use a 4 steel shot wad. There is steel shot exposed above the wad. And I promise you, steel shot is contacting that choke tube and forcing cone and everything else going down it. Now, with that being said, it's small steel shot, number 5s or smaller. I've personally shot probably, I don't know, 400 or 500 rounds of this stuff down the same gun, and I see no evidence of scarring, wear, scratching, forcing cone, or choke tubes. I don't want to get too far into it right now. I'll wait more towards the end of the video, maybe go into a little bit deeper. But there's been studies done across the pond extensively, and they're finding out that smaller steel shot does not affect barrels, right? Or forcing cones or anything like that. So if you are concerned about, damaging an older gun, I would say if you've got a fixed full choke gun, I probably wouldn't shoot this. I mean, I have never shot this through anything tighter than modified restriction. You're more than welcome to. It's your gun. You can do what you want. But I'm just saying I've not done it. And when you see the patterns, you probably won't need to, okay? Just by the way steel shot patterns. So anyway, 1/2 ounce 410 load in a 3-inch shell, good tested load. You can find the data on this load as far as everything on my website, bullet225ho.com. Yes, you have to pay for it. I'm sorry. Look, I said on another video, a lot of these folks on YouTube, they do Patreon accounts. They charge for membership and all this kind of stuff. And I looked into it in a Patreon account. It's almost like people just donating you money and they don't really get anything in return. It's just like, well, I like what you're doing here. Here's some money. Well, at least for a little bit of money that I ask for the data, you're getting something in return, right? And by the way, the amount of money is pretty small. It's less than a couple of energy drinks. So there's not like there's thousands of dollars passing hands for this data. But every little bit helps. It helps me do more of these videos. And now that summer is over and the elk trip is over, I'll be doing some more of these videos. But anyway, half-ounce load of steel. Let me get you on this side of the bench and we'll put this thing together. And then I've got some patterns. I don't have any footage of actually shooting them, but I do have the patterns and we'll go over those. All right, so come on, let's put this thing together. All right, so here's what we're working with. These are Fiocchi 3-inch 410 hulls. Fiocchi primed hulls, right? There you go. So I'm pretty sure they have the 616, just a standard primer in them. Once fired hull, Fiocchi hull will work too. I had these tested with, actually they were once fired hulls. So anyway, the wad, this is where we're gonna get into a little bit of maybe controversy from folks. These are Claybuster, they're basically clone wads, AA 410HS, the SP 410, 410SC, AA41, replacement wads. You can see that I've had these for a while. But anyway, so that is the wad, okay? The powder, won't get into that for YouTube reasons. They don't like us showing how to manufacture ammunition, so we're not going to do the complete manufacturing with all the details. What I can tell you is we're going to charge our 410 hull, already primed. See, we didn't even go over the priming part. So now, 410 SP wad, yes, this is not designed for steel shot. I understand that. We'll get into that later. So there's your wad right in there. Now, this particular shot is number 7 steel. I'm actually so low on number 6s, I'm not even gonna use it. So this is a half-ounce load. So a half-ounce is 218 grains of steel, okay? And the reason that I came up with this particular pieces of components, as far as what type of shot, the wad and how much shot, is it all fits, okay? So there's 218 grains of steel shot, got plenty of room for a crimp. I'm not having to vibrate, tap, do all kind of crazy stuff, okay? Now, MEC 600, we've got the BPI Super Crimper for new hulls. Done, I think on the Bismuth 410 video, we did crimping new hulls. Again, so on this hull, on a new hull, you don't really have to just crank down on this thing, just enough to get the pedal started. And I like to lift it up, rotate it around. If nothing else, it just recenters it. And then I'm not putting a ton of pressure. Matter of fact, you'll see that's all the pre-crimp I'm putting on this thing. And then we set it over here in the final crimp. And there's you a nice tapered edge for your pump semi-auto guys. A nice little crimp. Now look, it maybe just a little tiny hair adjustment and I could close that little hole right there up a little bit. But as you can see, they're not terribly bad, right? So let's do another one. So I'm using an RCBS powder dropper like I always do. I do not trust the MEC charge bars to drop a super accurate drop every time. Some people are comfortable with that, but when I'm hand loading my own stuff, I prefer to just use the dropper from RCBS. It's much more accurate. I even do a video on that one day, just showing the differences in accuracy as far as the drops. So 218, that's 218.1. I don't know if you can see that. There's about 157 shot in 218 grains. And that's why I hand weigh all of the shot that I do too, is because, well, I want to know that there's 218 shot in here. Put him on the pre-crimp, hold him for a little bit, give him a little spin, hold him for a little bit, final crimp. There you go. Just a nice, clean hull. There's no, there's no big bulges in this. It functions out of my TriStar Viper G2 410. Functions in the Cobra pump. Out of, well, doubles and single shot, you ain't gonna have no issue anyway. But anyway, that's pretty much it. I mean, if you've got once fired hulls, you don't necessarily need the Super Crimp starter, but it is nice to have. I've also seen comments where people say, them things tear your hulls up. I really haven't seen it. I haven't seen splitting of hulls prematurely because of this. It just makes starting that crimp. Now look, if you were to really bear down on this and get a deep crimp in there and fight that hull, yeah, it's possible that you could score it enough that when it fires, it's not going to be that great. But anyway, let's go take a look at some of these patterns, and we'll go from there. All right, so this is number 6 steel shot, ½ ounce of steel shot. Keep in mind there's about 157 pellets in this load. These targets are all at 25 yards, okay? My thought behind that was, hey, 410s, should be patterned at 25 yards is what most people are telling me. Plus, I personally, and I shot these thinking about waterfowl, keeping waterfowl in mind. So I was thinking wood ducks, teal, or even big ducks over decoys, feet down, 15 to 25 yards, which is not uncommon, right? Now, I shot these out of a Yildiz A4 Elegant side-by-side shotgun. These were all shot with the same barrel, the right barrel, with different chokes. And I went from cylinder to modified. Like I said before, I haven't shot anything smaller or tighter constricted than modified with the steel shot, especially this load. So this is cylinder choke, number 6 steel, and that is a 30-inch circle, okay? I don't actually have the numbers written on this, but actually it's not a bad pattern. It's kind of splotchy. Probably not the choke I'd use. Of course, I don't know anybody that would use cylinder choke for much. I don't even use it for the TSS duplex load. Improved cylinder is what I use for that. But anyway, this is cylinder choke. It would kill a bird. It's just not for this particular gun. Doesn't throw a great pattern. Got quite a few shot outside the circle. Let's take a look at the next choke. All right. So this is improved cylinder. This is the choke mark number 4 with the Yildiz. And man, we can see a difference. There are a few pellets outside, but this is starting to develop more of a core. See the core right in there? The pellets are tighter together. At 25 yards, this is not terribly bad, right? I wouldn't want to go beyond 25, I don't think, for say, if you're going to do doves or something like that. Because keep in mind, you can do 7 shot in this. You can do 8 shot if you wanted to. But I think a lot of people are gravitating towards 7 shot for dove, 6 shot. A lot of people do shoot 6 shot for dove. But I'd say 6 and 5s would be where you want to be at for ducks. But anyway, not a bad pattern for improved cylinder. I wish I wrote the numbers on here so we'd get a better idea. So let's take a look at the next one. All right. So this is the choke mark number 3. This is modified. There's 151 pellets on this piece of paper, okay? They're basically, we're missing 6 pellets, right? We're missing 6. Who knows where they're at? But I can tell you 151 are right here. And that is that's modified choke at 25 yards. So you can see the core right here. I mean, there ain't a dove, a snipe. There ain't anything getting through that core right there. Now, if this were a bigger shot, smaller shot, which means there'd be more of them, then it would even be dispersed better, I think. I really need to pattern 7s out of this, and may even do that at 30 just for dove purposes. But anyway, much different than the improved cylinder at 25 yards. What I'm getting at is you could probably go to 30 with this if you hit the bird square. That's the big thing is, you know, with the 410, again, we start talking about expert's gun. You got to put that on the bird, not this, that at 25 yards. So anyway, that is modified. That's as tight as I went with this gun. I have one more pattern where I shot a modified choke out of the Viper G2. So let's take a look at it. Okay, so this is the TriStar Viper G2 410 modified choke at 25 yards. There's 148 pellets on this paper. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 138 in the circle, okay? Again, that's still right in that 90 percentile of pellet density or pattern density. Some people are real concerned about that. What I will say about this particular pattern, it does have a real nice core, but there is a few little splotchy holes in it. But this core, like I say, that core, man, that joker's super nice. But for ducks, this would probably be great. For upland stuff, probably not so much. Especially, you know, a dove will make it through some of this stuff. That's why you might want to go to maybe a bigger shot with the smaller shot with an improved cylinder choke if your shots were, you know, within 30 yards. So anyway, that's the patterns. Let's go back to the bench. We'll go back over this stuff. See you in a second. All right. What y'all think about those patterns? You know, the 410, man, it's a fun little gun. But one thing I think that comes across real strong is the way that steel patterns so much more uniform than lead and bismuth, especially bismuth. Whew, good Lord. Even in a wad that really, you're only protecting the bottom 2/3 of the shot. You know, I know for myself, I've always, you know, heard and read, you know, man, you got to protect the wad. You have to, a real tight shot cut to get a great pattern. And sometimes I think it's true with, you know, maybe softer shot like lead or bismuth, but I don't think so much with steel. And look, I'm not telling people to go out and load up 28 gauge, 20, 12, any of this stuff with a steel shot with a wad that's not protecting your barrel, right? 28, I'll be honest with you, I've shot a bunch of it on the top, sticking over the top of a TPS wad, right? Not in a shot made, or not in a wad made for, lead shot. I haven't done that. But I will tell you this, in all the guns that I've shot, steel shot in, I have seen no damage, none whatsoever. But I will tell you this, TSS or heavier than lead stuff, that does bother me. Because one of my little test mule guns, I'm seeing some stuff in the forcing cone area from some stuff that I tried to put together a few years ago, and I shot that gun exclusively because, well, it's my test mule, and the only thing that I can come up with is it was some TSS and some HW15 that I was trying to push through wads that we're talking about today, and it doesn't work. So I would never condone or recommend or say that you should shoot TSS, HW15 or HW13 even out of a wad that wasn't designed for that type of shot, which basically in our world would be a TPS wad. It's about the only thing we got for sub gauge. You get into 20s and 12s, and there's all kinds of wads that are available for TSS and HW15 steel and whatnot. But anyway, lost my train of thought there. It's pretty inexpensive to load this stuff. I don't know if you guys have looked lately, but lead shot by itself is pretty daggum expensive, right? And steel shot, I think for 10 pounds, you can get 10 pounds for 22 bucks. 10 pounds goes a long way when you're putting half ounce of it in a load, right? So, the hulls, they work out to be about, I don't know, probably 25 cents a piece once they're shipped. If you've already got hulls, then you don't even have that cost. The wads are pretty inexpensive too. You just the shot and your powder is where the expense comes in. And you can dang near load steel shot for about what you can load lead shot for. It's not tit for tat. And look here, if you've got 800 pounds of lead shot that you bought 10 years ago laying in your basement, well, shoot, yeah, you can load it cheaper because you've already got it. But I'm just talking about people that are starting out, thinking about reloading. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Well, a Mech 600, I think you could probably get one to your door for maybe $200 or $300, and then your components, if you're shooting any amount at all, you can save money. Not to mention, you get a little quiet time to yourself, baby. some therapy away from everybody. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it, man. The 410 it patterns real nice in the steel shot. Again, if you don't like the way this load's put together, I'm not asking you to go buy the data for it, but I'm also asking you, don't tell me down in the comments what a fool I am. I've already said that. We've established that, right? But there has been studies in the UK. They seriously did studies about the effects of steel shot. And of course, they called it non-magnum, I think was the term, and don't quote me on that. But basically, smaller steel shot, they have found that it has no effect on barrels, choke tubes, forcing cones. And by the way, if you have a chrome lined barrel on your gun, which most modern guns are, and it has choke tubes, I would bet that choke tube is probably rated for steel shot, which means, I don't think it means, I'm not a choke tube manufacturer, but I would assume that it means it's safe for steel shot to go through it, meaning it won't hurt it. I don't think it means this is safe for fully protected steel shot to go through it. To me, that wouldn't make any sense. So choke tubes are replaceable, even if it did do damage. Again, I found none. Barrels are actually replaceable if they did damage. But again, I've found none. Let's just say I'm comfortable with it. I've shot enough of it that I'm comfortable with 5-shot and smaller through the sub gauge. And I'll go ahead and tell you that I'm comfortable with it in a 28 gauge too. So I don't have anything put together out there with a 28 gauge that's not fully protected, because the TPS wide does a good enough job as it is. But I have no problem putting shot over top of that. That's going over top of the TPS wide, because with setback and everything else, it's for the most part protected. But anyway, thank y'all for watching. I'm going to get back on the video train now that that summer is over. We had a crazy summer. We had some fungal infection in the daughter, and whew, it was scary to say the least. But anyway, we got through that. I had a elk hunt that I'm now back from. Of course, whitetail season's kicking in, and we've got waterfowl about to kick in heavy here in a couple of months too. So, but anyway, I'm gonna get back on the videos for you guys, and we'll see some more. Hit the subscribe button. A lot of you people that comment, you're not subscribed. Man, you don't know how much that would help if you just subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. There's a little square down in the bottom hand part of the video. But anyway, subscribe, and that way you'll be able to see whenever the videos come up. And we'll see y'all next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.